Drugs takes you to hell disguised as heaven. Good day, everyone. I am Geraldine Apiag and I will discuss to you some of the previous topics that we've tackled the previous weeks on this subject. Alright, and now let's proceed to our first discussion, which is drugs. So when we talk about this one, it refers to the substance that can affect the human mind or even the physical state, wherein it can affect on how the brain works, on how you feel and how you behave, as well as on how you understand things, and also affects your senses, which makes it unpredictable and dangerous, specifically towards young people. And now let's proceed to the two types, which is prescriptive and non-prescriptive drugs. So when we talk about prescriptive drugs, it is simply given by the doctor, wherein it is also called as pharmaceuticals. It can be harmful when you did not accurately apply the instruction of the doctor. And when we talk about the non-prescriptive drug, it refers to the drug that you can buy it on any drug stores without prescription. So that is all about the two types of which is prescriptive and non-prescriptive. And now I will introduce to you, I will let you know on what are the legal drugs and illegal drugs. So legal drugs are nicotine and alcohol. Yes, these are legal, yet it is subjected to restrictions, specifically by age and location of use. And the next one is illegal drugs. So the following illegal drugs is cannabis, amphetamines, and ecstasy, wherein it is subjected to the quality of price controls and the amount of active ingredients varies. So that is illegal drugs. And now I will also discuss to you these three things here, which is stimulants, hallucinogens, and depressants. So let's go first with stimulants. So stimulants can actually activate or speed up your central nervous system, while hallucinogens can slows down your central nervous system. And lastly, we do have here what we call depressant, wherein it can affect your senses, specifically on how you see, your sense of hearing, taste, smells, and on how you feel things towards other things. So those are the three things, which is the stimulant, hallucinogens, and depressant. And now let's proceed to the other topic, which is what we call the drugs and their following sources. So the following sources is plant sources, animal sources, mineral sources, marine sources, synthetic sources, and semi-synthetic sources. So let's proceed on the first one, which is plant sources. So when we talk about this one, it is the oldest source of drugs, wherein most of the drugs are actually derived from plants, and almost of the plants are being used. So that is plant sources. And now let's proceed to the animal sources, wherein it is a type of drug that it came from the animal source. Like for example, we have the fish oil, musk or beeswax, enzymes, and antitoxins are products obtained from animals. So it is either from a whole animal glandular products, which is specifically in the thyroid organs. Okay, so now that is about the animal sources. And now let's talk about the third one, the mineral sources. It is actually both metallic and non-metallic, wherein it has been used since the ancient times. Yes, so actually our body required a trace of elements of minerals in order to maintain homeostasis. So patients or person who has lacking on adequate level of following minerals of the following minerals may take or may dare to have a specific mineral based on a drug to raise the level of minerals. Specifically, like for example, iron. You are having iron deficiency or anemia. You should take about ferrous sulfate. And also other example of that is antacids for hyperacidity, and peptide ulcer. You should take bicarbonate. So those are the following examples of mineral sources. And now let's proceed to the fourth one, which is what we called marine sources. So when we talk about this one, it is actually has a bioactive compound wherein it came from the marine flora and fauna, wherein it has an extensive past and present use in prevention, treatment, cure of many diseases. Okay, so coral, sponges, fish, and marine microorganism provides biologically potent chemicals with interesting anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and anti-cancer activity. So the example is we do have the what we call eleutherapine, which is a chemical compound that can be found in corals. Then we do have what we call discodermolide, wherein it is also a chemical compound that can be found in marine sponge. So that is all about the marine sources. And now let's proceed to the fifth one, which is synthetic sources. It actually it refers to the drugs that is evolved with the human skills in the laboratory and advanced knowledge, as well as understanding of the how do you pronounce this one? Phytochemical investigation. Yes, and usually in the present time nowadays, majority of the drugs actually are used in clinical practice that are exclusively prepared synthetically in pharmaceutical and chemical laboratory. So that is all about the synthetic sources. And now let's proceed to the last one, which is semi-synthetic sources, wherein it refers to the drugs that is neither completely natural or either completely synthetic. So this is type of drug is hybrid, wherein it is generally made by chemical modifying substances that are available from natural sources to improve potency, efficacy, and also reduce side effects. And in regards to this type of source, this semi-synthetic source, its compound is impure. So it actually has a difficult or complex molecule, and as well as it is commercially unviable. So those are the following drugs and their sources. So the first one is plant sources, animal sources, to be followed by mineral sources, marine, synthetic sources, and semi-synthetic sources. And now let's talk about the drugs and their associated effects on using that type of drug. Okay, and now let's proceed to the first one, which is what we call scientifically the methamphetamine hydrochloride, or also known as the poor man's cocaine or shabu. It is called poor man's cocaine because it is way cheaper. So it is actually derived from the name kakozai, which means kakozai means waking, while zai means drugs. So it's usually the effects of this taking shabu is it can cause anxiety, irritability, and irrational behavior. It can also lead to talkativeness, loss of self-control, and as well as unable to sleep, and also may lead to have a violent and destructive behavior in taking this stimulant drug. So that is about shabu. So its long term, its long term effect is psychosis, convulsion, as well as death from cardiac arrest. So that is the long term effect of shabu. And now let's proceed to cocaine. So when we talk about cocaine, it is actually a crystalline powder, and it is highly addictive drug, wherein it is also called coke, snow flake, or either blow nose, snowbird, and lady, and big C. So it is actually, this cocaine is merely popular as king's habit. Why? Because this cocaine is more expensive compared to other stimulant drugs. So its following effect on taking this in taking this drug, it can actually increase your blood pressure, as well as your heart rate, and also your body temperature. And also it gives you euphoric feeling and the feeling of energetic and alertness. It activates your being energetic and being alert, and loss of appetite. So these are the effects of taking this cocaine. And the long term, or the long term effects of taking cocaine, it can also lead to lungs damage, psychosis, yes, and runny nose, and also confusion. So that is all about the cocaine and its following effects towards your body. And lastly, we do have marijuana. So marijuana, it is also known as Acapulco Gold, which is and also Five Fingers, grass, tangri, ganja, bang, damo, or either, and as well as Mary Jane. Okay, so this marijuana is actually a dried leaves, flowers, stems, and seeds from the hemp plant. So this marijuana, it is a plant, and it is usually dried leaves. Okay, so this type of drug actually contains psychoactive chemical called delta 9 tetrahydro cannabinol, and other regulated compounds. So that is all about marijuana, and its effects on taking this. It can actually fast your heartbeat, and also tend you to be more forgetful, and as well as you may have a dry mouth and throat. So those are the specific effects. Okay, and the long-term effects on taking this one, or long-term effects in taking marijuana, is chest pain. Yes, chest pain, irregular menstrual cycle, and also temporary loss of fertility. And we also have a cancer on the lungs. So those are the following drugs and their effects towards our body. And now let's proceed to the identification and examination of dangerous drugs. So when we talk about drug identification, it actually refers to the branch of forensic chemistry, wherein it deals with scientific examination of drugs and volatile. So there are actually forms of drugs. So the first one is drug tablets, liquid, capsules, powder, or either brick or crushed marijuana dried leaves. Yes. And lastly, we do have the uprooted plants. So those are the forms of drugs. Then the next one is, we do have two types of examination, which is the qualitative and quantitative examination in examining the drugs. So the methods of this following examination, the two types, is the first one is method selection, and then the next one is physical test, to be followed by sampling, sample preparation, chemical test, confirmatory test, I mean confirmatory examination. Then we do have the calculation and the interpretation of data and drawing conclusion. Then after that, we'll write a report. So those are the following steps on the two types, the types of examination, which is qualitative and quantitative examination. All right, and also I will discuss to you about the two phase of examination, so which is the screening or preliminary test, and the second one is confirmatory test. So when we talk about screening, it is actually in non-specific and preliminary in nature, which is employed to reduce the family or group of to identify the presence, to employ to reduce or group of drug to a small and manageable number. So I just want to clarify it that screening refers to the non-specific and preliminary in natures, wherein it employs to reduce the family or group of drugs to a small and manageable number. And now let's proceed to the confirmatory test, wherein from the word itself, it confirms the result of the screening, which involves application of analytical procedure to identify the presence of this specific drug. So that is all about the two phase of examination. Then also, lastly, we do have here the examination of urine specimen, wherein it refers to the rate of excretion from the body depends on the drug's solubility in fat. So we do have what we call water soluble drugs like cocaine. So cocaine usually can be easily excreted quickly, while the fat soluble drugs like marijuana might take up several weeks or months to be excreted or excretion. So that is all about the examination of urine specimen. And now let's proceed to the next topic. And now we're going to talk about the body somatotypes, calculating BMI and their status. So when we talk about body somatotype, it refers to the method of identifying people by their body shapes. So calculating BMI, it refers to the measurement wherein we use the height and weight to know or to work if your weight is healthy. So that is calculating BMI. And now let's proceed to status. So what is this status tells about? It refers to the identification wherein we are able to determine if our weight is in healthy state. And now let's proceed to somatotype. So what is this somatotype? So in psychology, it is actually a discrete idea wherein the body shapes and the body shape and physique are associated with physical traits, personality traits, forming the basis of constitutional psychology. So that is somatotype. It is a discredited idea that human body shape and physics is associated with personality traits, forming the basis of constitutional psychology. So now let me share to you the three types of body shape. So we do have the ectomorphs, mesomorphs, and lastly we do have endomorphs. So when we talk about ectomorphs, so this type of body shape is lean, fragile, and it has a narrow shoulders and hips. So usually this type of body shape are actually having a hard time to gain weight, and building muscle mass is very challenging. So the characteristic of this body shape, it has a flat-chested. Yes, it is flat-chested, and it is naturally lean, and it has narrow shoulders and hips, wherein it has a slight frame and bone structure. So that is about ectomorphs. And now let's proceed to the second one, which is the mesomorph. So mesomorph actually it is a body shape wherein it is has a high proportion of what do you call this, high proportion of muscle mass and bone. So it has a large trunk and a heavy chest. So it has also a broad shoulders and narrow hips. So its characteristic is athletic and toned body, and it has a muscle definition. Generally it has a rectangular shaped body. So it is strong. It is strong and gains muscle easily. So that is mesomorphs. And now let's proceed to the third one, which is endomorph. So this type of body shape, it refers to the soft body with a minimal natural muscle definition. So it is more prone to gain fat, and it is having difficulties to lose fat compared to other body shapes. So it is also have a larger bone structure, and it has a slower metabolism. So that is endomorph. And now let's talk about a BMI or body mass index, wherein it refers to the measurement of body fat based on your weight in relation to your height, wherein it serves as an indicator to direct measurement of total body fat of a person. So calculating as the BMI increases or BMI score increases, so does the body fat increases. So it is actually important to calculate your BMI, wherein it helps us to determine if you are underweight, normal weight, or overweight. Either you are obese. So if you are 18.4 or less than 18.4, you are underweight. So if you are 18.5 and above, 18.5 to 24.9, you are in normal weight. And if you are 25 to 29.9, you are overweight. And if you are over 30, you are categorized as obese. So it is actually important to help, to determine to solve your BMI in order for you to know if you are in a healthy state of your weight. So that is all about body mass index. Alright, let's go proceed to the next topic. We're going to talk about communicable disease. So when we talk about communicable disease, it refers to the transmissible diseases. These are illnesses results from infection. So the presence and growth of pathogenic biologic agents and individual human or animal host is there. So when we talk about pathogen, it is an organism that cause disease to its host with severity of disease symptoms referred to as virulence. So that is a pathogen. And I will share to you the following communicable disease, which is common colds, measles, chickenpox, and we do also have tuberculosis, polio, influenza, dengue, and malaria. So let's talk about first the common cold. So usually it can be transmitted, or you will get it through your it is a viral infection to your nose and throat. So it enters through your mouth, eyes, and nose, of course. So this virus can be spread through a droplets or even cough and sneeze. So that is how about common cold disease. And now let's proceed to chickenpox. So it is actually it is caused or infected by varicella zoster virus, wherein it is an itchy rash with small fluid blisters. So this disease or this type of communicable disease is highly contagious, wherein it is dangerous to those people who haven't had this disease before, or even to those people who don't or didn't been or haven't been vaccinated against it. And now let's proceed to measles. So measles actually caused by virus, which is also called rubiola. So rubiola, it is measles that can be easily spread and can be serious. and can and even even fatal to small children. And now let's proceed to the next one, which is polio. So polio, this is actually the most severe, wherein it caused the nerve, wherein it is causing the nerve injury, leading to paralysis. And in most cases, it has difficulty in breathing, and sometimes death. So that is polio. And now let's proceed to influenza. So it is usually called or commonly known as flu, but not as the same as stomach flu that cause you to diarrhea or vomiting. So usually influenza flu resolve on its own, but sometimes influenza, due to its complication, it can be deadly. So that is influenza. So it is actually a viral infection that attacks your respiratory system. And now let's proceed to the next one, which is tuberculosis. So it is actually a serious infectious disease that mainly affects your lungs. So there are two ways of the doctors distinct between latent TB and active TB. So when we talk about latent TB or latent tuberculosis, the bacteria there is in your lungs, yet it is inactive. Yet still there's a possibility that it can be turned to active, so treatment is still important. So when we talk about active TB, so from the word itself, it is more likely you are sick and the bacteria in your lungs is active. So that is all about tuberculosis. So it is actually a transmittable disease, and it can be transferred from person to person through coughing, sneezing, or airborne spread. Okay, and now let's proceed to dengue, or also known as Aedes aegypti. So it is actually a mosquito-borne illness. Yes, that occurs in occurs in tropical area and subtropical areas in the world. So mild dengue fever can cause high fever and as well as flu-like symptoms. So this dengue hemorrhage fever can cause serious bleeding, and also a sudden drop down of blood pressure or blood, which is it can be in shock, and also it can lead to death. So that is all about dengue. Okay, and now let's proceed to malaria. It is also called Plasmodium. So it is a parasite enters your body, which enters your body through the bite of an infected mosquito. So that is all about malaria. Now let's proceed to our next topic, which is the type of sugars. So there are actually four types of sugar. So we do have the sucrose, glucose and fructose. Then we do have lactose and maltose. So when we talk about this sucrose, it is actually from from a glucose and fructose extracted from sugarcane, sugar beet, and naturally present in most fruits and vegetables. And now let's proceed to glucose and fructose. So usually this type of sugar can be found in fruits, vegetables, and honey. And the third one would be lactose. So usually this type of sugar can be seen or can be found in milk or in any dairy products. And the last one, we do have the maltose. So maltose, it is malt sugar, which can be found in malted drink, specifically in beers. So the good sources of having or getting sugar. So we do have fruits, whole grain, milk, and as well as oatmeal and vegetables. So those are the good sources of getting sugars. So the bad ones are like refined breads, sugar cereals, sugary cereals, and we do as well have the soda and some sports drinks, or even candy. So those are the types of sugar. So we do have again, so to wrap things up, we do have sucrose, glucose, and fructose. We do have lactose, and last one, we do have maltose. So those are the following types of sugar. Alright, to sum up, we have discussed the following topics, which is drugs and their sources, types of drugs and its effects to the body, as well as the identification of examination of dangerous drugs, as well as we've tackled about the body somatotypes and the importance of calculating BMI, and we've also tackled about the communicable disease and give types of communicable disease. And the last topic that I've discussed is about the types of sugar. So hopefully you have learned something on my discussion. Please don't hesitate to ask if you have clarifications, questions, or even a violent reaction on this one. So you don't have to worry. Please don't hesitate and ask me. So once again, this is Geraldine. Thank you so much for watching, and God bless. Bye bye.